เรือใบถือว่าเป็นกีฬาอีกหนึ่งประเภทนะคะที่ในหลวงรัชกาลที่ 9 ทรงสนพระราชหฤทัยนอกจากพระองค์จะทรงมีพระปรีชาสามารถในกีฬาชนิดนี้แล้วเนี่ยนะคะกีฬาชนิดนี้ยังทำให้พระองค์ทรงได้รับมิตรภาพที่ดีจากชาวต่างชาติอีกด้วยหนึ่งในนั้นนั่นก็คือมิสเตอร์ปีเตอร์คัมมินค่ะติดตามได้จากบทสัมภาษณ์พิเศษโดยคุณอรัชพร ชลาดล
คุณผู้ชมคะถ้าหากจะพูดถึงในแง่มุมของการกีฬาเราเหล่าประสบกนิกรชาวไทยต่างทราบกันดีว่าพระบาทสมเด็จพระเจ้าอยู่หัวในพระบรมโกศทรงมีพระปรีชาสามารถและทรงมีพระอัจฉริยภาพทางด้านของกีฬาเรือใบทรงเรือใบได้แชมป์ในกีฬาแหลมทองครั้งที่ 4วันนี้ถือเป็นโอกาสอันดีนะคะที่เราจะได้มาพูดคุยกับชาวต่างชาติคนหนึ่งที่ได้มีโอกาสใกล้ชิดพระองค์ท่านและมีโอกาสได้ร่วมแล่นเรือใบกับพระบาทสมเด็จพระเจ้าอยู่หัวในพระบรมโกศคุณปีเตอร์คัมมินส์ค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ
ครับ
It is an honor to have you here talking with me about His Majesty the King. I would like to ask you how do you know about the sad news and how do you feel?
Sad news came on the radio, BBC yesterday, or the day it came out, and it was indeed sad news. That's how I knew about it. Plus the newspaper was much later.
How do you feel about the news?
Very sad.
And I heard that in once of your life, you have spent the time with His Majesty the King sailing.Would you please share with us about how you first met His Majesty the King and how you spent time with him?
I was very excited. He's an extremely good sailor. He tested me to the limit. I won't talk about the results, but I enjoyed it. One of the finest days of my life.
You were so lucky to get really close to His Majesty the King.Would you please share more about the time you spent with His Majesty the King, the conversation you had?
Yes, most of the time was after the regatta because we're sailing single-handed boats and obviously we can't talk too much when we're on different courses. But at the end of the regatta, the King and Queen had a nice party at Hua Hin.To say farewell to the people who looked after them during the summer period. And I had probably the best 15 minutes of my life with the King and Queen. We talked about so many different things.
Can you example some conversation?
Yes, the King and the Queen were both interested in why I came to Thailand, what was a difference between my own country, which was Australia, still is Australia, and why I like to stay in Thailand. We had a lot of conversations about not just sailing, but many aspects of life. And what I found was different in Thailand to Australia. And I found many things very different.
What is your first impression about our
king?150%. He's a marvelous man, absolutely charming to be with. And after a few minutes, it's sort of not a king and a subject. It's like being with a friend.
Talking about the boat, I heard the boat OK Dinghy. You have the boat.the same boat, the OK Dinghy.
Yes.
As His Majesty the King. Can you tell us about this boat?
Yes, I bought my OK Dinghy from what is called the home of the OK Dinghy. A little bit like the lasers you see out here, a little bit smaller. And I bought one at the same time as the King. And then the king went ahead and built 3 OK dinghies in his life and a slightly bigger boat called an Enterprise. And we talked about the difference between the professionally built and the ones built by His Majesty. And there's really no difference. I can't.